The rain hammered against the windows of my Seattle apartment, mirroring the storm raging inside me. Alaric, a 44-year-old software engineer, had always considered myself a logical man, a problem solver. But nothing in my life had prepared me for the problem that had just landed in my lap, the shattering realization that my wife, Bront, was having an affair. It had started subtly, almost imperceptibly. Bront, a vibrant and successful real estate agent, had always been busy, but lately her late nights had become more frequent, her explanations vaguer. "Just closing a big deal, honey," she'd say, her eyes flitting away from mine. I wanted to believe her. I loved her. We had been married for 15 years, a seemingly solid partnership built on mutual respect and affection. But the nagging feeling persisted, a discordant note in the symphony of our life together. The first real clue came in the form of a misplaced scarf. A silk scarf, a color Bront never wore, lying on the passenger seat of her car. I picked it up, the smooth fabric cool against my skin, and a wave of unease washed over me. When I asked her about it that evening, she dismissed it with a laugh. "Oh, that must have been one of my clients. They probably left it behind after a showing." But the lie felt clumsy, unconvincing. Then came the phone calls. Late at night, hushed conversations held in the hallway away from my ears. When I'd ask who she was talking to, she'd say, "Just work, Alaric, you know how it is." But I didn't know. I'd never known her to be so secretive. The final piece of the puzzle, the one that shattered my world, came unexpectedly. A friend, Cashin, who worked at a local coffee shop, mentioned seeing Bront with another man. "They looked pretty cozy, Alaric," he'd said, his voice laced with concern. "I just thought you should know." I didn't want to believe Cashin. I wanted to dismiss it as a misunderstanding, a case of mistaken identity. But the seed of doubt had been planted, and it was growing rapidly, poisoning my mind. That night I couldn't sleep. I tossed and turned, my mind racing, replaying every interaction with Bront, searching for signs I had missed, clues I had ignored. Finally, I got out of bed and went to her study. I knew it was wrong, a violation of her privacy, but I couldn't stop myself. I needed to know the truth. Her laptop was on the desk, open to her email. I hesitated for a moment, my conscience warring with my desperation. Then I clicked on the inbox. The emails were there, plain as day. A series of messages between Bront and a man named Kendrick. They were filled with longing, desire, and explicit details of their affair. My heart hammered in my chest as I scrolled through them, each word a blow to my soul. Kendrick was a colleague of Bront's, a slick, handsome real estate agent with a reputation for being a womanizer. The emails revealed that they had been seeing each other for months, meeting in secret, sharing intimate moments, betraying my trust in the most profound way imaginable. I felt a wave of nausea wash over me. The room began to spin. I stumbled back, knocking over a stack of books. The sound seemed deafening in the silent apartment. I sank into a chair, the emails still glowing on the screen, mocking me with their intimacy. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. I could only feel the crushing weight of betrayal. How could she do this to me? How could she lie to me, deceive me, betray our marriage? We had built a life together, a home, a future. Had it all been a lie? I sat there for hours, staring at the emails, the rain continuing to lash against the windows. The first rays of dawn crept through the blinds, painting the room in a pale, sickly light. I felt hollowed out, empty, like a shell of my former self. When Bront finally woke up, she found me in her study, still staring at the laptop. She took one look at my face and knew. Her eyes widened and she gasped. "Alaric," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "What are you doing here?" I didn't say anything. I simply pointed to the screen. Her face crumpled. "Oh God," she said. "Alaric, I can explain." "Explain," I said, my voice flat, devoid of emotion. "Explain how you could betray me like this. Explain how you could lie to me for months. Explain how you could sleep with another man." "It just happened," she said, tears streaming down her face. "It wasn't supposed to happen. I didn't mean for it to go this far. It just happened," I repeated, incredulous. "You didn't mean for it to go this far. You were exchanging love letters with this man, Bront. You were planning secret rendezvous. How much further did you think it would go?" She sobbed, burying her face in her hands. "I know I messed up," she said. "I know I hurt you, but I love you, Alaric, I really do." "Love," I said, my voice rising. "What do you know about love? Love is trust, Bront. Love is loyalty. Love is respect. "You have shown me none of those things. Please, Alaric," she begged. "Don't do this. Don't throw away our marriage. We can work through this. I promise. I'll do anything." I looked at her, really looked at her, and I saw not the woman I had loved for so long, but a stranger, a liar, a cheat. "It's over, Brant," I said, my voice cold, "and I want you out of this apartment by the end of the day." She stared at me, her eyes wide with disbelief. "You can't be serious," she said. "You're really going to throw me out?" "Yes, Brant," I said. "I am. I'm done with your lies. I'm done with your deceit. I'm done with you." I turned and walked away, leaving her sobbing in the study. I went to the bedroom and started packing my bags. I didn't want to stay in that apartment, surrounded by the ghosts of our shattered marriage. I called a divorce lawyer, a friend of mine named Linnea. I told her everything, and she assured me that she would handle it. I felt a small measure of relief knowing that I had someone on my side. By the time Brant emerged from the study, I was almost finished packing. She looked pale and drawn, her eyes red and swollen. "Where are you going?" she asked. "I'm leaving," I said. "I can't stay here, not with you." "But where will you go?" she asked. "That's none of your concern," I said. "Just make sure you're gone by the end of the day." I grabbed my bags and walked out of the apartment, leaving Brant standing there, alone and defeated. I spent the next few weeks in a hotel trying to process what had happened. I felt numb, disconnected from the world. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, I could barely function. I spent my days working, trying to distract myself from the pain, and my nights staring at the ceiling, replaying the events in my mind. Linnea handled the divorce proceedings with ruthless efficiency. Brant tried to fight it, claiming that she wanted to reconcile, but I refused to back down. I wanted out of that marriage, and I wanted out as quickly as possible. As the divorce progressed, I learned more about Brant's affair. It turned out that she and Kendrick had been planning to leave me for months. They had even been looking at houses together. The betrayal cut even deeper, knowing that it wasn't just a momentary lapse in judgment, but a calculated act of deceit. I also discovered that Kendrick was married himself, with 2 young children. I felt a pang of sympathy for his wife, Evangeline, who was completely unaware of her husband's infidelity. I debated whether or not to tell Evangeline about the affair. On the one hand, I didn't want to cause her any pain. On the other hand, I felt that she deserved to know the truth. After much deliberation, I decided to write her a letter. I poured my heart out in that letter, telling her everything that had happened, providing her with the evidence I had gathered. I knew it would be devastating for her, but I hoped that it would also empower her to make informed decisions about her future. A few weeks later, I received a response from Evangeline. She thanked me for my honesty and told me that she had confronted Kendrick and filed for divorce. She was heartbroken, but she was also determined to move on with her life. Knowing that I had helped Evangeline find her truth gave me a small sense of satisfaction. It didn't erase the pain of Brant's betrayal, but it did give me a sense of purpose. The divorce was finalized a few months later. Brant got the apartment, but I got the satisfaction of knowing that I had walked away with my dignity intact. I moved into a small house on the outskirts of Seattle, surrounded by trees and fresh air. I started hiking and spending more time outdoors. I reconnected with old friends and made new ones. Slowly but surely, I began to heal. One day, I received a phone call from Brant. Her voice was weak and trembling. "Alaric," she said. "I need your help." "What is it?" I asked, my voice wary. "Kendrick left me," she said. "He ran off with another woman. I'm all alone and I don't know what to do." I felt a flicker of satisfaction, a karmic justice, but I also felt a pang of pity for Brant. She had made her choices and now she was paying the price. "I'm sorry to hear that, Brant," I said, "but I can't help you. You made your bed, now you have to lie in it." I hung up the phone, feeling a sense of closure. I had finally moved on from Brant and her betrayal. I was ready to start a new chapter in my life, a chapter filled with honesty, loyalty, and love. Years passed. I continued to work as a software engineer, finding fulfillment in my career. I traveled, explored new hobbies, and enjoyed the company of my friends. I even started dating again. One day I met a woman named Astrid. She was kind, intelligent, and beautiful. We fell in love, and after a year of dating, we got married. Astrid knew about my past with Brant, and she was incredibly supportive. She helped me to heal the remaining scars and to trust again. We built a beautiful life together, filled with love, laughter, and mutual respect. I finally found the happiness that I had been searching for, the happiness that Brant had so carelessly thrown away. Looking back on my marriage to Brant, I realized that it had been a valuable lesson. It had taught me the importance of trust, loyalty, and honesty in a relationship. It had also taught me that I was stronger than I thought I was, and that I could survive even the most devastating betrayal. I never saw or spoke to Braun again. I heard through mutual friends that she had never fully recovered from her affair with Kendrick. She had lost her job, her friends, and her reputation. She was a cautionary tale, a reminder of the consequences of infidelity. I, on the other hand, had found happiness again. I had learned from my mistakes, and I had emerged from the ashes of my broken marriage stronger and wiser. And as I sat on my porch, watching the sunset with Astrid by my side, I knew that I had finally found peace. The rain had stopped, and the sun was shining brightly. The storm had passed, and a new day had begun.